Hi everyone.
Hi everyone. In the previous video, we implemented the domain layer for the permission feature. There are still some missing API, but it is better to continue iteratively. So today we will implement the application layer utilizing the domain layer. Erkan, let's discuss what we need in terms of state management.
In the previous parts, we told you that we are going to use Flutter block package under the application layer. So we will need to decide if we are going to use blocks or qubit for this permission feature. To make this decision, let's first discuss what are we going to need in the presentation layer. What are our needs? Does the UI demands from us? What does the we need in terms of functionality, and decide on whether we want to use qubit or block. Aytunç, what do we need on UI for this feature?
Let me think about it. For this app, the UI needs to display if location services are enabled or disabled. That's the first thing. The UI also needs to display if location permission is granted or not. Other than this, we don't need to display anything, but in case the permission is not granted, then the users should be able to request permission. So I think that's all, Erkan.
So, as far as I understand from what you said, the only method that I will provide you in the permission qubit or block is the request location permission method. So,
Yes,
and
totally.
I don't think this method should be event. I mean, it doesn't. It can be event, but it doesn't have to be event. So, since this feature doesn't need
Erkan,
features like
what you mean by
yeah,
event is stream, I guess, right?
yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be stream. We don't need features like debouncing, throttle, switch map for this feature, for this request location permission method. We don't need features like this. So I think choosing qubit over block in this case will be better because it is more straightforward and has less boilerplate. So let's begin with qubit for this feature. So under the application folder, now I'm going to create a new qubit called permission qubit, and I am renaming the folder as permission. Similar to the domain layer, we have a subfolder called permission, which is the feature name. We are using the same pattern on all of our layers. So to begin with, Aytunç told us that he's going to need is the presentation layer needs to know if the location services is enabled or not, and if the location permission is granted or not. So these are the things that we need to expose to the outside world. So I am creating a state class with freeze, and it has two states. Is location permission granted? Is location services enabled? Oh, I have a typo here. So here we are going to define the default states, the initial state. So by default, both of them are going to be false. So this is what we need for the state class. And since this is a freeze class, we need to run build runner and let freeze let build runner generate code for this. We run the command flutter pub run build runner build, delete conflicting outputs command, and now it's generating the freeze class for us. Almost done. Here we go. Not completed yet. I don't know why. Yeah, it's not completed. So here, freeze generated this class for us. It has the equality operator, string methods, the constructors, default immutability. Everything is generated by freeze for us. So our state class is ready. This is all we need for state class. Now let's implement the qubit class. So in the application layer at permission qubit, we will have methods. We will have one method that we expose to the presentation layer, which is request location permission. So for us to call the permission services request location permission method, let's create the variable first. Final I permission service. So we are using a permission service that implements that I permission service, and we are going to inject that dependency, and this qubit will be a singleton. We want this qubit to be created when the app is started and leave throughout the lifetime of the app. So what we do is coming from injectable package, and what we do here is dependency injection. So injectable package will generate getit code, and getit code getit is a service locator. So it's going to figure out what implementation we use for I implementation service and inject that dependency. So for request location permission method, we are going to just call the request location permission method of the permission service abstraction. And this will be enough for us to display the prompt to the user. And it will return us location permission status, but for now, we don't need to do anything with that status. So for keeping it simple, I will not just use it for now. Okay. So this is what we expose to the outside world. And remember that we put these two location service status and permission status in our state. So we need to get this data from our permission service and keep the up-to-date information in our state. Let's begin. Should we begin? So let's first begin with location permission granted status. So we will call this method it returns, it is a feature, the feature will. So we will call this, and then after the feature is completed, we will have a Boolean is location permission granted value, and we will pass through that value to our state. Emit state copy bit, so it created a deep copy of our state and changes the is location permission granted value with what we get from here. So what we basically do is to modify the initial state and update it with what we get from the permission service. Okay, so this is first thing we do. Remember that we don't have a stream for this permission granted status. So let's continue with the location services information. Similarly, I think I can copy paste this. Is location services enabled? And similarly, it will give us a Boolean is location services enabled. And we are going to get the copy of the state with a change in is location services enabled status. Okay, this one is complete as well. And also we remember that we also have a stream that we can use to listen to the changes in the locations services status. So we are going to create a stream subscription for that stream. So let me check the type of the stream. Here we have the location services status stream, and it is a stream of Boolean. And we are going to listen to the stream. We are opening a stream. So let's create a stream subscription object and handle its opening and closing as well. Location services status subscription. It will be a
Erkan,
nullable object.
can you please close the terminal window?
Yeah, sure. Okay. And I'm assigning this to the stream. So we assign the subscription here. Let me make the window size bigger for you. Okay. This stream is giving us Boolean values that keeps the location services information. And whenever we get updates, we are going to use that information to update the state. Okay. Finally, what we shouldn't forget is to handle the closing of this subscription. I mean, in this case, we probably will not close the subscription at all. But in some cases, sometimes you forget that you open the stream and you open the stream again, and it causes weird situations in your state, and it is becoming very hard to debug. So it is always a good idea to handle the closing of your state. Close methods is coming from Flutter block package. So first we are going to call super.close. Okay. And when the qubit is being closed, we are going to close the subscription as well. We are going to cancel the subscription. Okay. So I think that is all we need. Do you miss anything, Aytunç, at the application layer for this permission qubit?
I don't think so, Erkan. That was a very good explanation. Thank you. I think this concludes the application layer of the permission feature. In the upcoming video, we will implement a very simple UI. Next, we will start the infrastructure layer and implement the methods of the abstract domain layer. And finally, we will connect the application layer with the presentation layer to make sure everything works as expected. So see you soon.
Bye.